Hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. And today we have a guest from Activeloop. It's a company for used to build seamless data pipeline, which will give you uh, machine learning, building machine learning models more easily. And here, let me introduce to our guest, David Buniatyan. He is the CEO of the Activeloop and currently a PhD candidate at Princeton University. So uh, let's go to David and learn how he got the idea of Hub and how he started this company to building more efficient data revolution for the future.
Thanks, Sebo, for having me here. It's an honor, and you're also a very active community member at our hub. So, thanks for setting this up and also starting the podcast. Great to be here. Hello, everyone. My name is Davit. I'm the founder of Activeloop. Let me go through the questions. Yeah, sure. You mentioned about how the hub idea originated. So as you mentioned, I'm only from Princeton. Before starting the company, I was doing a PhD at Princeton University, and I was in a neuroscience lab led by my advisor, Sebastian Sun. And the problem that we were working on is that we were taking a mouse brain, we were cutting into very thin slices, imaging each slice, and then applying deep learning pipelines or data pipelines to go from these images to the connectome or the connections of the neurons inside the brain. So to be able to do that, the amount of the data was getting to petabyte scale, and applying all these deep learning pipelines was very expensive. So one of our lab mates, actually two of them, William and Ignacio, they came up with this tool called Cloud Volume that efficiently represent volumetric image data on the cloud. So you can think of it as serverless arrays where you can access this data from any part of it, and you don't worry about where the data is stored. And this was a very useful tool at the time when I was working in the lab, and since then, William is working very hard on building this upon. And once we got into Y Combinator, then started working with companies to help them to be more efficient in machine learning, we found this pattern that a lot of data companies or like machine learning companies, they have this problem as well. It was not just our lab that was working on with a lot of data. Even companies who have like terabyte or gigabyte size data sets, they don't have a pretty good way to store the data. They use ways to, like the same way as people are doing it with storing on files or on object storage. And that's how the idea has been born, kind of motivated with this rudimentary approach for storing the datasets. If you just go and Google search, now, can you give me a database for images? What you found out is that on Stack Overflow, you see is that the first answer is store your data on a database and then reference the files on a file system, which is kind of, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, just for whoever going to do building a machine learning model, he for him taking a lots of time to do this kind of data preparation and data pre-processing and everything. And now I am with Hub from the past 3 months, and the growth of the Hub is very great. And I think later on we have the pre-processing pipelines as in our like as in our project. So what do you think that what is the problem with the raw data? Because currently whenever we're going to build some kind of model, then the problem we face that the data is not in correct format. It is in a raw format, or it's not readable by any package like the TensorFlow or PyTorch. And I think Hub has some kind of thing that to read this data.
Sure. So the way people store the data is like you have so many file formats, so many different compression techniques, so many different encoding techniques, and it's very difficult if you are trying to train a model. You have to write this like around boilerplate code, which has 100 lines of code, to go from these raw files to the the native, or let's say machine learning framework structure. And you might use TensorFlow, you might use PyTorch, but like just writing this part of the code is like takes a lot of time. And how what it does is just replaces everything with two single line of code after your dataset is in our format. And I know, Debo, you also helped us to make it very easy to go from a raw folder structure to our format. And thanks to the people like you and other community members who have joined us early days, you are a true believer before like Hub was, let's say,
Yeah.
popular enough, and you help us to get there and help us there. And we are very helpful to you and the community members. And there's so much yet need to be done to make this industry standard for storing and
Yeah.
managing datasets.
Yeah. So, now we see that Hub is currently a package and it is open sourced. So, from where you got the idea, to make a company like this and make the Hub open core, like to from the open public, so everyone can read the data and try to improve on it. So, both community and as well as industry can involve in a way that both are benefited from each other.
Exactly. So we make a decision. We want to be an open core company, which means that our core technology is going to be open source. Having said that, what we are aiming here is that we want to have the storage, the format, the version control, and all these features that are currently available to be forever open source. And at the same time, since we should be able to build a sustainable company to sustain the community, to sustain this format, and also grow and get more people involved with the company, we also need to figure out kind of the how we're going to take this and provide this to the industry and generate revenue from there. So we can put this back into the product and build a better company, community, and a category.
Yeah, so now there are people who are working in ML and as well as AI industry. So for them, data is super important. So what do you think that how to make this data more corrected, or like collecting more data to get a good solution of a problem? So have you think that data is the next money, or like fuel to the future industry?
Well, as you said, the analogy there, data is the oil, and the
Yeah,
fuel is like more like kind of insights for the business.
yeah,
So if you can make very efficient storage and streaming of the data, representation of it, then you can enable companies to extract more value out of this data, which inherently will give them will add business values. I can get into details here as well for you.
yeah,
So unstructured data or images, videos, audio, and text files are very computationally heavy to process, and it means that a lot of time, human time and computation time is spent, which means there's a lot of money spent to be able to extract business insights or train a model and get a business value out of it. And if we can make this cheaper, then we can enable more businesses to be able to generate more insights from, let's say, video security cameras, or you have the self-driving car companies who are driving and trying to get there. Still, we don't have the
like Tesla and Google.
exactly. So everyone is working on towards making it very efficient, cheap, and cost-effective to be able to extract value out of the unstructured data.
Yeah. So data can be many types. So for our data, when we go to Amazon and a customer try to search for a product and their activity is recorded. So is there any kind of support in Hub to store these kind of activity data in the Hub?
Do you mean analytics data or?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
analytics data.
So, I mean, the Hub supports any dataset format, and sure,
Okay.
people can store tabular data or time series data into our format. Though I want to make clear that today it works better for unstructured data where you have images, video, audio, text. That's where we are kind of shining and where we are targeting. But we also have in mind to keep like tabular data or time series data to make it available and very efficient to use. It's just there are also so many other tools that are doing a great job for doing that. So we decided to focus on where things might need help, and where we can improve the benchmarks.
So currently, how much data can handle by hub? Like, what is the scale of handling data in hub? 1 terabyte, or even in the petabyte scale, we can upload the data,
Yes,
or
yes.
or and or like the streaming data, like we can stream data, like there was a part of data can be given access to the data scientist, I think. More like the GitHub, whenever a company tries to make their software, then they gave some permission to their developer, like a developer access. So can we do that kind of thing with hub?
Yes, yes. You can first of all store any size of the dataset you want because the representation itself is sort of limitless, meaning that even you say I want to have 100,000 by 100,000 by 100,000 array, it's like it could be huge, of course, but it behind the scenes it doesn't matter. The logic is very scalable. Regarding the access management and
Yeah.
sharing, so we want to make sure that the open datasets or those datasets that researchers or individuals can use for either learning or for doing research and generating models, that we want to make it always for free. But the features that when in an organization you want to have access capabilities, that gets into more kind of an enterprise version of the product.
So like we can do all the version controlling, and as well as later on the future, we can do the permission, like we can give permission to the developers as well, I think. It is in the hub pipeline, like we can, it's a future goal of hub to make it more accessible to the both researcher and as well as for the industry professional who are using. So
Yes.
from this, what do you think that in future which industries are going to use maximum data, like to, like the self-driving cars, they are using a lot of data, like the pressure and brake pressure when they're on the road, then the image data. So for this kind of massive data, uh, do hub support the hybrid structure, like simultaneously process the data like audio and video data both, and we can
Yes.
use it in a PyTorch and as well as TensorFlow? Is that
Exactly.
possible?
Yeah, as you said, what you can do is that in a data set, you can have multiple, we call it tensors or
Yeah.
n-dimensional arrays. And each tensor could be, one of them could be video, could be audio, could be text. And you can have these multiple tensors inside a data set where you can plug this into a PyTorch or TensorFlow and train a model on top. And we see that the trend in machine learning or deep learning, it's getting into multimodal models, which are taking multiple different categories of data input.
Like
Exactly, and do the
more,
predictions as you said.
more like a pipeline which
Exactly.
contains multiple, or a functional model which is available in the TensorFlow or PyTorch, where we
Right.
can stack different models and output the result.
Hmm.
So yeah, now what uh, do you think about the data 2.0? As I see that in the hub future, they want to move from data 1.0 to data 2.0. So what is the difference between data 1.0 and data 2.0, and how it's save, like how it is more efficient than the previous version?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So before getting into data 2.0 and 1, let me stress out something that Andre Karpathy on his blog post mentioned about software 2.0 and how software 2.0 is different from software 1.0. So the main difference is that developers used to write this code, the instructions that get translated into a computer and then get executed. For software 2.0, instead of writing those instructions yourself, you set up the training process where you train a model um, based on your objectives and the data you have. What we claim here is that software 2.0 needs data 2.0. Data point one, as you said, is the way we store our files. Like you open your desktop, you see a lot of files like they're in mass in different folders, in different representations. That's data 1.0. And the way developers, data scientists are working with the data is the same as developers used to work with data pre database era when there were no databases. You were storing everything on a text file on your file system. And that's how we are doing now with images or videos. And Data 2.0, which says, hey, instead of you figuring out which format to store, what compression to use, what kind of encoding to do, and how and where to store it, let me abstract away all this infrastructure from you, all this like representations from you. And what you care about is you care about training a model. You care about plugging this into the
Yeah.
training or application pipelines and then apply them. And that's where Data 2.0 comes into the place.
Okay, that's great. Now, so what do you like? How AI, ML, and big data can help the society? Like for making a good society, there is a lot of problem in the medical field and as well as the general fields like educational, environmental. And so, what do you think that in future AI, ML can help the society to finding good solution regarding this problems uh, uh, and that we can make more out of the data and give the society a efficient solution they so they can there will be a like they trained a model which can detect the bushfire from like the early stage or from a distance. So I think it's a good application of machine learning. So what is your opinion regarding that?
As you said, there are so many good things that can be done with machine learning and AI and in general, like especially this deep learning on applied to unstructured data. But they also like kind of negative use cases for that. So it's a technology, and the user should be able to ethically define how are you going to use this technology, and is it going to benefit like humanity, the people, society, or how what kind of effect you're going to want to apply. So the still we apply the technology and we define how to use it.
Yeah.
For more specifically to your question, yes, deep learning and machine learning in general can be very well applied in healthcare and make the costs very down. So it's very efficient to diagnose and also maybe prescribe medicine to people, and that will benefit a lot of people. And not only in biomedical imaging or like healthcare applications, but also in agriculture and in entertainment as
Yeah.
well. So there's so many areas this could be used, and we are very excited. We are in the just starting to see all the impact that can have across the humanity.
Yeah, just the tip of the iceberg.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. And we are just
uh,
starting
and
this.
and I see that Hub has some projects with Omdena, which is the uh, open source NGO society who helps to build efficient models and efficient solution for different environmental problems. And I think they have recently for something do like the aerial imaging in India. So what do you think that like this kind of more society can help the industry, and how Hub contributed to their project to make it more successful, that uh, like we can make a better society?
First of all, this all kudos go to Omdena and their CEO Rudradab and their whole team and the collaborators that are working on. They are doing an amazing job. What they do is that they partner with NGOs, as you mentioned, and with nonprofit organizations that work and like on very social AI for good challenges. For example, we partner with Red Cross, we partner with in Kenya, we partner with World Resource Institute on economic modeling that you have mentioned, and there are so many projects that they are running, and it's very exciting to see in 21st century such companies exist, and they do help both. They kind of become a platform for collaborators or open source data scientists to contribute to those very important problems. And
Yeah.
the way we wanted to partner with them or get help them is that we provide our tooling, including advanced features as well, for the collaborators to use this for free. And that's yeah, that's how we see ourselves. And to say the truth, is not just us giving the tooling; we also learn from them a lot. Like the data scientists, when they're starting to use the early versions of Hub, they gave us so much feedback, and we had to incorporate that and to make Hub more proof ready and production ready. So we are also thankful, and we gain a lot from these interactions with them as well.
Yeah, so now Hub is free, and every anyone can use it. So like what is the application can hub used, like if there is a data scientist or a student like me who want to create a application or a solution for a regarding a problem. So how how he can start using hub and making an account and upload the data. So
Mhm.
what do you think? And I put the link of the Activeloop website in the description, so they can check that out. But uh, can you give a example, or uh, if possible I will share my screen so they can take a look how to start with working with hub. I think that will
Yeah,
be better.
sure. Do you want me to share my screen, or you want to go ahead and share your
I think,
screen?
can you share your screen? I think that will be better.
Yeah, of course. Let me share my screen. Do. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, one
So,
minute, I will add to stream it. Yeah.
oh, okay, sure. Let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, it's already ready and it's streaming. You
Oh,
can
nice,
start.
nice, nice. Cool. So first of all, what you do is to just pip3 install hub, and then you get the Python package ready. And what you can do, you can access a public dataset by importing hub
Yeah,
and dataset, and load the dataset, and then you can access any part of it. So here, let me parse this for you. So first of all, we load the MNIST dataset.
yeah.
Then we apply MNIST image, so which is like contains image and label, and then we want to get the first 1,000 images. When we run,
So basically it's stored as a dictionary, like all the image, and after that it can be imagined as a dictionary which has a image label, and in the image key it has all the values, and
exactly.
as same as the label.
Right, right, right. So you have a dataset object which is a kind of a dictionary which contains many labels,
Yeah,
like tensors, and then for each tensor you have the name which you can access, and then the tensor itself an n-dimensional array which you can access it. And the way you access it is you say, "Hey, give me the first dimension 1,000 elements," and I can do dot compute, and you can download the data.
yeah. So I think we can train a model as well, like with
Mhm.
this data, and yeah. So what is this 2 PyTorch does? The 2 PyTorch function.
Yeah, so that's a good question as well. So once you load the dataset, instead of accessing yourself, what we can do is we can transform the dataset into PyTorch dataset format, where you can give it
Okay.
this to the data loader and then start training a loop, and which you can see here. And what we do is that we make it hassle-free for you to actually write the transformations that you want to apply on the dataset and then plug this into the training loop.
Okay, now I think it's a great feature that you got the 2 PyTorch, so you don't need to do any kind of third-party data preparation, and you just directly convert the data to PyTorch, and as well as TensorFlow format. I think there is a TensorFlow version as well, like to TensorFlow.
Yep, exactly. And the TensorFlow format you can find in docs. But yeah, there's like TensorFlow is well
Yeah.
available.
Yeah, and so that is for creating a local data set that they can save the data in the local machine, and therefore they can use that in their local environment and train a model.
Right. So you have the dataset here. You can specify the location where you want to store, and this is a local Python
Okay.
folder. So you don't have to upload the dataset. You can define how big you want how many samples you want to have in the dataset, what's the reading mode or writing mode, and then you can define the schema, and the schema
Okay.
contains your structure of the dataset.
Yeah.
And you can
And
access the data as you want.
we can upload to the Activeloop website as well, just need to replace the tag, like define a tag comma, like your username slash the what kind of, like first
Mhm.
I think you they need to do a register and login.
Right. So if you want to upload a data set, we want to know who you are and which like folder structure you want to, where you want to store the data. So for that, you first of all run Activeloop register. We recently moved from Hub CMD to Activeloop, and now you can run Activeloop login, so you can authenticate yourself. And once you're authenticated, then you have the username, and what you say, okay, given my username slash the dataset name, and this will know where the dataset to be stored. So we can go from the dataset object itself to the stored on the cloud. So if you want to access from another machine, or you want to share it with your another friend, what you can do, you can send this username and slash dataset name, and the friend can access the dataset and then start working on it. You don't have to forget to upload the dataset with ts.flash. That will take from the in-memory dataset to the cloud representation, and then you can
Okay.
access it from anywhere.
Yeah, now I think about a feature for the hub, like if they can there is kind of I see a new application called Fever, like it is totally decentralized application where the data is stored only user computer, not in the cloud. And whenever a user want to see a video, then the video is fetched from another user's computer, like more like a torrent type feature, like where the data is not actually exist in the database, only in the user's computer. So can hub create this feature in their future, so that if someone has a sensitive data and they don't want to share with like third party or any other cloud storage, only in their computer, and they can share with other people who want to collaborate with
Mhm.
that. So is it possible?
Yes. So we are able to give you, so in the where you define your name or the path of the data set, you can say, okay, I want to store it in S3, I want to store it in Google Cloud, I want to
Okay.
store it in Azure. But what we have done behind the scenes, it's a very easy, simple module that you have to extend to
Okay.
be able to load and store the data. So we have thought along about this. Actually, one of our team members is very excited about it, to not only integrate with that, but also with Airweave and IPFS and Filecoin. So there is so much opportunity in future in managing the data sets, and then you can plug any dataset provider or any storage provider to store the data in your location you want. So what we care about is not like, we want to make it effortless for the data scientists to store and manage the data sets.
Yeah. Yeah, so for now I think there is some feature we got, like we get in future, totally abstracting away the schema what we see, like for our data scientists is it's also a time consuming to define the schema for them. From a data scientist perspective, I think that this can be abstract away and they can directly go to modeling. And
Exactly. That's our goal with Hub, and we want to make this industry standard for storing the data set. So data scientists don't spend much time on prepping the data. I don't know if you have seen this tweet by Big Borat on Twitter, which
no, I
it was
don't
like
see.
7, 8 years ago, which said 80% the data scientists, they spend 80% on the data preparation, and
Yeah.
they spend 20% on complaining about data preparation stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that
in that case, like for the data preparation they take most of the time. And
yeah,
if a hub can do all of them in the in the under the hood, I think that will be great, and that will make more easy. Yeah. And can we can we store the models as well in the hub, deep
yes,
learning models like
we
pytorch?
have we have the API now for storing the models, but we want to make it very focused on dataset storage as of yet.
Yeah.
So that's why we don't like promote it widely about the modeling stuff.
Okay. So uh, like what we expect from the from our future version, like from the future society to this AI ML. And like sometimes we see that like Elon Musk or Stephen Hawking, what they said that that artificial intelligence can be the destruction of the mankind, but I don't think so. Like it's very hard, and we are just in 10% of exploring this field, and even we don't know much about our own brain. So I think I think it's a it's very far that there will be a some kind of Terminator AI who is terminate all the human. So
Uh,
what do you think that
yeah,
what will be the future,
as long as
like what?
good
Yeah,
people run this, as long as
yeah,
people who have high moral and high ethical standards, I think we are in safe hands. And seeing you like connecting from India now, I'm in on the other side of the world, and I have like we have people in the community from all around the world. If
yeah,
we can make sure that this handled safely, then I believe the technology itself will be used for good. And that's, for example, what you mentioned Omdena is doing, and there are also other people are doing towards this.
yeah.
So if we can keep this in safe hands, I feel like this could really help a lot of people, and we can avoid military or bad usage of the technology itself.
Yeah, yeah, like sometimes it will use for good purposes. I think that will be great.
Exactly.
And what we can expect from the future version of Hub?
Yeah, so we have so many things to do yet. We have to, first of all, we have to simplify the data uploading and processing itself. Then we have to make sure it's very efficient to store each data modality. Those things are like we need to really nail down as soon as possible. And then in future, what we can, as you mentioned, we can think about storing the models. We can think about building the data pipelines and help in integrating with other tools, like making it effortless to integrate with not only PyTorch and TensorFlow, but other training systems or with annotation toolings or with more raw source data. And of course, then going as well and working with structured data very efficiently.
So yeah, uh, I think we are done with the all of the questions I have, and I think let's finish this and wrap up this. Like, Hub is really a great community. You can join, and I will put the open source project GitHub link in the description so you can check that out. And I pull, if you have any question you can ask me or David. I already put all the contact details of our in the description, so yeah, definitely give a check out. And so what you want to tell our subscribers so they can like more interest in ML AI and in this field, that like they can get more opportunities, because it's a field where research and industry is just putting their step, and it will evolve with time.
First of all, I'm very thankful, Debo, to you that you are part of the community. And we have seen working with you for over the last 3 months, and it has been a great pleasure. And secondly, thank you very much for having me in this podcast. Third, I feel like there's so many good opportunities that could come out of the open source. And overall, it doesn't matter if you join Hub or other open source communities.
Yeah,
It really gives a kind of a platform to connect the whole world together. And it's really exciting to see people from any part of the world coming together, working on a same single project, single mission, single problem, and unifying everything this together and pushing this forward. So I feel like if you want to learn, if you want to have an impact, if you want to focus on, first of all, there's like the three questions you need to answer. First of all, where you
yeah,
can be the best in the world, where do you have the passion, and where you can create the
yeah,
biggest value. If you find the overlap of this, take one thing and then really focus on it. And if it will
yeah,
be in data infrastructure, data storage, data building, then come to our community. If it will be more compute or any other, find the community that you will belong to, and then join the forces with them and try to have an impact in this world. I think there's nothing better than that. And there's so many opportunities could come out of it. So yeah, that's I don't know
and
if that will be helpful to the viewers or subscribers, but yeah, that comes from my heart.
question you told, I think it's applicable for all the fields, like from whatever, like first I think you need to find your own passion, and you need to talk with your parents or whoever, like whoever support you. And I think that will help you in long run,
I think
because
you're totally right. Yes.
yes, because if you don't find pleasure wherever you work, so I don't think that will do permanently. Like if that work give you stress, then that is not your field. And wherever you work, and that it's not seem that you are doing work, and you are doing more with your passion, I think there can you do more. Like you did it, I think it's your passion to do the industry and do the world a great place, and as well as to help people. That's why we are coming with this great package and the great company, and uh, like the great team we have currently, like the community members and as well as the others. Yeah, so
Yeah.
like,
Thank you very much, Debo. Thanks.
yeah, okay,
Sounds good.
bye for, yeah,
Thank
bye
you very much
for
for
now.
watching. Yeah. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.